They say that when a giant demon jaguar dripping fire drool was about to terminate your existence, your life flashes before your eyes. Actually, no one says that. Not a lot of people have experience with giant demon jaguars. And as of yesterday, neither did I. But that was before I met
Bittenbinder. Bernard Bittenbinder, Ph.D. to be precise. Thought we'd get introduced, since the only ones on this plane to South America seems to be you and my group of...
You found that Toltec crystal skull and discovered that light, when shined through it, actually slows down.
That research wasn't ever published. Who are you?
Harry. Most people call me... Pitfall Harry.
So you assume I'm like most people. What are you doing?
Turning on the charm. This is my medium set.
Oh!
Charm's getting to you, huh?
Whoa! Where's Nicole? There's only one chute left!
What are you... Let me go! Now you're Mr. Macho? Saving a woman while you died for her in the cold night?
In the hot nights.
Ugh! Ah!
All right, welcome everyone. You're here with Brothers Forge Gaming. Right here we're looking at Pitfall, the Lost Expedition. This is on the PlayStation 2. Well-known publisher at the top, Activision. Now they make, they're one of the top publishers by today's standards. One of the only few left as well, which is rather interesting to see a game like this, which I would say by today's standards would be considered more of a indie title. Because it's like a smaller studio you probably never heard of that developed this. But you know what? You do get some great gameplay out of this. It's got some decent graphics. I mean, this is probably late era PS2. One of the things we talk about with PlayStation 2, man, those are nasty, is that sometimes the backlighting can really ruin great games on the PS2. Not to mention clunky cameras and things like that. But you know what? This is early development of the gaming industry that we love. There was some hiccups along the way, but ultimately on the PS2 there are a lot of fantastic games. I don't want to go out and say that this is a hidden gem of anything, but it kind of was to me. I found it, I forget where I was. I might have been at a local shop that actually ended up going out of business recently, and saw this on the shelf for, a deal, maybe like a couple bucks. And so in that sense, to me, it was because like I mentioned,
what have we here?
Top-end publisher, and just kind of a Pitfall. You know that name from back in the day, Atari, one of my favorite Atari 2600 games. And on this, actually, might as well just say it right now, cat's out of the bag. On the back of this, when you flip it over to read it, to check out what's going on with the what and what, it does say includes unlockable Pitfall 1, and get this, I didn't even know it was a thing, Pitfall 2. So there's a second Pitfall. Now, unfortunately, it took a very long time. I actually got some hot water because I thought I'd be able to unlock it, within the first hour maybe. Probably took me a couple hours to unlock the first Pitfall game. And I believe to unlock the second Pitfall game, you might have to clear this entire game, or at least the next section, like the next chapter in the story, if you will. And not to say, okay, I do enjoy games like this. I enjoyed them immensely when this was all there was to play. There's some great games that you think of, Spyro, any of those, platformers, Banjo-Kazooie, even like Mario 64. Games like that in that era, I immensely enjoyed them during that time. But now that my gaming tastes have adapted and evolved and grown, I tend, especially because time, these are a huge time sink. I mean, you got to look around everywhere, and for me, and I know a lot of you gamers out there, you have a completionist thought in your mind. You're like, I want everything. I can't move on from this area until I have unlocked everything. And a lot of time in games like this too, they make you come back to areas because you don't have the ability to get the one thing you need, like at the beginning. You know, they tease you with the Holy Grail at the very beginning of the game that you can't get till you have like all the stuff unlocked. So for that, by that standard, you know, that stuff will drive me nuts alone, and it was one of the reasons I had to stop playing these. Not to mention, like I said, it's the time sink involved in some games like this, action platforming, puzzle solving. You think maybe kind of like this is a version, a semblance of Tomb Raider, kind of, is what I get the feeling of, which is one series, great series. I don't know why I could really never get into that. I think it was the controls. It was like Resident Evil controls in an action platformer. No thanks. So I tried to play one of the newer ones, which they probably fixed some of those controls, but it was like I was stuck in this freaking tutorial forever. So I just was like, all right, I've had enough. But you know, that's one series that I do. If I'd have to say I haven't really played too much of, and probably should go back and play, it would be the Tomb Raider series. I mean, they've made a bunch of those games, so they've got to be good, right? That's one way to think of it. But anyway, back to the story here. You know, you've got basically, you're just going around solving puzzles, going to the different parts of the island. You have to, you know, go to this one spot and turn on a switch, and then go back to this other place, and then you got to go find this item, and then go back to this other place. Which is one of the things too of this era of gaming, especially probably due to the fact that there was not so. I mean, this wasn't as much limited as say like NES and SNES, where you could only have, the game could only hold 100 sprites, you know. So that's why you had the same 5 enemies, and they just changed the colors of them and stuff to kind of get around some of those limitations. Not to say that this era of gaming didn't have their limitations, but if you think that far back, these games are, you know, above and beyond it with what they can do. But I feel like what the developers and the publishers of this era of gaming tried to do was create longer. So turn a 20-hour game into a 60-hour game because you have to constantly be going back. I kind of feel like maybe that's what happened in this era of gaming a lot, was that they were trying to put content out too much too fast, and they were trying to create replay value in a game that might not necessarily need it. Because this would have been a great game as a linear, maybe like an open world, but linear. Like they give you one mission at a time. I mean, that's kind of what they do, but in a sense, it's free play, so you can choose these different ways to go, and you know, oftentimes it ends up making you have to backtrack way more than you want, or you say fall all the way down and have to start over and go all the way back up and around. Those were early issues in gaming that. Now, by today's standard, if I pick up a game like that and I notice it, I see it coming, I'm like, all right, I can't even play this game anymore, which is unfortunate because I do miss out on some great games. Like this game, I did have fun playing it, but like I said, it's got a lot of what I was talking about. Some of the camera angles are a little rough, you know, the backtracking, but that's not to say there isn't some really cool abilities. You find a ton of unlockable stuff. As I mentioned a little while ago, you can unlock the original Pitfall and the sequel from the Atari era on this game, which we're going to go over later. So if you guys just want to skip right to that and you want to see what that looks like, skip to the end of this video. I did, like I said, I unlocked the first one. That was goal 1 on this. I played until I unlocked it, and it was, there was a couple points where I thought I was going to have to say no thanks, but I stuck to it and I got there. So yeah, and as I said, hidden gem. You know what? I think this game just might qualify for that standard. I've never heard anybody talk about this game. It was the first time I'd seen it, like I mentioned, when I saw it there on the shelf. And, you know, it's as well made as any game of this era. It's got a ton of stuff to do. I mean, the price is right and the quality's there. So you let me know. If anybody out there has played this and they have any stories or anything like that about this game that they remember, you know, because like I said, I bet you a lot of people at this time were playing God of War, Tomb Raider. They weren't playing a remake of Pitfall that, you know, everybody probably just said, oh yeah, these games are crap, because that does happen a lot too, where they remake these games, and especially during this era, that people just weren't on board with it. Now it's like, oh my gosh, they remade a game, we have to get it. Like everybody's all about that, right? But back now during this time, I think maybe it was too new still. So people were like wanting new and not so much caring. They'd moved on and weren't caring about the retro. But now, you know, in the era of gaming we're in, it's so popular that retro gaming is everywhere and everybody is at least aware of it and wants to maybe experience that a little bit. For me, it's still in that same era. Like, why Nintendo, to me, is not necessarily... Of course, Nintendo... as a company, they're great. They make great games. I mean, their quality is outstanding. You can't go wrong with Nintendo. But for me, where they've remade the same IPs for the last 30 years, like, I'm not excited to go play a remake of a game where it's not going to be as good as the last one. You know what I mean? In my opinion. So, for me, the pinnacle of Super Mario was Super Mario World. I mean, you've got 3, which is outstanding, and then you go to the upgraded version of Super Mario World, and you know, just with the next level system and everything, and that was it. That was tops. That's not to say there aren't some other great, you know, entries in the main series along the way. There are. I mean, the Galaxies. You've got the new Odyssey. So many great games made and published and developed by Nintendo for their original IPs. Great games. The way I look at it, though, is if you're a new gamer getting into gaming and you start on the Switch and that's Mario Odyssey's the first game you play, that's going to be your Mario 3. That's going to be your benchmark for the rest of your life. But for me, where Mario 3 Super Mario World era gaming is the benchmark, it's kind of hard to say go back and want to play some of those newer ones and get into them. And like I said, that's nothing against those games or anything. They're great games. I do have fun playing them, but they are, you know, they're what they are. Maybe someday when I'm older, I'll be able to go back and enjoy the slow, methodical pacing of those games and maybe find that interesting. So, and that's another great thing about gaming. There's just so many games always coming out that you have these options. You get to choose what you want to play, and that's fantastic because, you know, when we grew up gaming, there was not only were we limited due to the fact that we were young, we didn't have a way to get around, no money. You know, had to go mow lawns or rake leaves or whatnot to get some money to go rent a game. You know, there weren't these online services, constant gaming at all around every corner. A lot of time we'd be stuck playing the same game for a year. I mean, we'd have one game, and that was it. So, by today's standards, we're spoiled, and I love it. It's great. And that, you know, that's one thing. The story in this game, it's there.
Hey, you made it.
Any other survivors?
The doctor, Mr. Leach, went off to find the others. They took that tank, the Gizmo 85. Yes, a real improvement over the Gizmo 84. Follow the tracks. I'm sure you'll find them. Will you help us locate everyone?
I, get to rescue the girl?
I suggest you let her think she rescued herself. Here, you might try gathering water from that pond out there. Oh, it's very clean. Tasty, even. I think it may even possess healing properties. And it looks like you could use some healing.
Thanks.
Then follow those tracks. Me, I've got to fly.
All right, guys. Well, you've seen it. You've seen some of the gameplay. I've lined it out for you. This goes on for a bit. Like I said, it took a while to unlock Pitfall, and so I used what footage I had and kind of just let you see what the game entails. As a recommendation, I would say if you like platforming games, if you enjoy puzzle solving, open world-ish-esque kind of style games, go out and grab this game. I can't imagine you're going to see it for more than $5 or $10, and it's well worth it. You've got hours of gameplay. I could see if you're a completionist, you've got 100 hours of gameplay in this thing for sure. And I mean, unless you're a beast or something, then maybe you could do it in 40. But for me, it'd probably take me 100 hours if I so chose to clear everything in this game, play all the all the side quests and whatever. You know, so you've got hours of gameplay in here, and well worth it. Grab it while you can. PS2, I don't believe is necessarily considered by all or most to be retro gaming. I saw a statement that said retro gaming is any anything not current gen, basically. So that means right now, currently we're at the PS4, Xbox One era. So anything prior to that, PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U,
Oh, yeah.
are going to be considered retro gaming, which, you know, I almost agree with. My what do you call it, determination or line, you know, where I draw the line on that is, I say anything that it isn't like download content heavy, internet based stuff like that is basically retro gaming, and that kind of PS3 sort of falls into that because it was like a half and half. I'd say now it's basically always online. Xbox One got some heat for saying that when they were going to release their system, that everything was, you know, only ever online and it was downloads and all this stuff, and, you know, basically gave them a hurdle to overcome when they released their system. But, you know, gaming is heading that direction. It's only a matter of time before us dinosaur gamers just stop caring enough to raise a stake to stop that. And more gamers who don't care about physical releases and are going to be online always anyway are going to, you know, just push that over the edge. Will it be this next generation? I don't know. I would say it's at least... I would say a 50-50 shot for this. I think they're going to force our hands on a lot on this next console, and then the following generation after that is going to probably be a huge dynamic change in the gaming world, if it even gets to that. But, like I said, guys, enjoy the rest of this gameplay. You've been hanging out with Brothers Forge Gaming. If you have any questions, let us know. Leave some comments. Let us know your experiences on this game. And like I said, if you want to skip to the end and check out what we all came here, why I bought this game, what everybody wants to see is some Pitfall at the end. Now, the port of this, of the original Pitfall onto this, it's hard to compare to the original on Atari with the paddle and everything. I mean, you can't beat that. That's tops when it comes to playing Pitfall at home on your console. However, it was a decent port. I liked the setup. You'll see at the end when you go to this temple place. It took forever to find that place, man. But anyway, when you'll check it out. It's totally cool. The display of that, the presentation of that classic console is really cool. So, as I mentioned, well worth it. Grab this game if you see it. You won't be disappointed. It's a collector's piece, and if you're a gamer that likes these kind of games, it's also very cool. So, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of this video. We'll catch you on the next run.
I'll mark this on my map so I can come back later.
Wake up!
我马哪来的？
What reek? Ugh. Need a gas mask for that.
Oh. Huh? No need for thanks. Oh, part of the job.
You can talk.
Some jags have what it takes, others don't.
You mean vocal cords?
Not vocal cords, magic. Why, isn't it apparent that I'm one of those super courageous jaguars who defend the weak, who protect the innocent, and who a very powerful, wise sorcerer would therefore bless with the power of speech?
That snake? It was dead.
Huh?
And you knew it.
Oh, no. Dead snakes are the most dangerous kind. You're walking down a path. You find a dead snake. You pick it up to study it. You slip on a rotting mango. You fly onto your back as the snake goes airborne. And there you are, helpless on the ground, when coming down through the air towards you is the dead snake. Its beady, dead eyes fixed on you, its dead mouth wide open, and its dead fangs about to plunge right into your neck. Luckily for you, the bravest cat in the jungle just saved your life. Run!
getting things stuck in trees. Things aren't going very well, I'm afraid. After we found this abandoned structure, Leech took off in his gyrocopter and got himself stuck in a tree. I've broken my arm, and the gizmo tank's stuck. Here, take this.
The Heroic Handbook?
A book of knowledge that no adventurer should be without. I'm afraid some of the pages were scattered in the jungle during the crash, but at least the rising strike maneuver is still in there. It'll help you free the gizmo tank. Good job, Harry.
So why are you guys here?
Leech.
You're here for Leech?
Free Leech and the gyrocopter. My guess is that if you hit the bullseye on the wing, that should do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I used to help my friend, Kevin McAllister,
The archaeologist from Yale?
by acting as his guide. When he came here a few months ago, I was too busy to join him. Well, at least that's what I tell myself now. He hasn't been heard from since. His daughter Nicole asked me to help her find him.
I see. You're here because of...
Nicole.
Because of guilt.
Which is not such a bad thing. For instance, you should feel guilty that you haven't tried to free Leech from that tree.
Oh, hello there. You must be Harry. Hubert Leech. Oh, thanks for getting me down from there.
I just wanted to see if that thing works and if you could really fly it.
Oh, it does. And I can. And it can. And I will.
You can, or you will, or it will?
It can if I can. And it's my will that it will. So it can.
Hey! Time is ticking!
But he can't.
Or won't.
I'm gonna set up camp here. You think you'll be able to find the other members of my party? Help them out if they're in trouble? Would you do that?
I can, and I can, and I will.
Would you stop talking like that?
I could, but I won't. Huh?
How about that? It's you again. Quick Claw at your service.
You said you were given the power of speech by a sorcerer, right?
As a reward for my years of selfless service to underdogs, under-cats, under-explorers, and under-tourists. Pretty cool if I do say so myself. Which I can, since I can talk.
Maybe he could use his magic to help me find these people I'm searching for.
Listen,
Harry. Some people call me, Pitfall Harry.
Listen, Harry. Some people call me Pitfall Harry. You don't want to meet this guy. Trust me.
What's his name?
If you're looking for your people, I think I saw one east of here.
Help! Can anyone hear me? Hello? Help!
What are you doing up there?
I'm doing research on the chlorophyll content in tropical foliage. Now get me out of here! Use your sling!
Say please.
Please? Get me out of here.
Please get me out of here, you gorgeous hunk.
Please get me out of here, you gorgeous hunk, so I can kill you.
Close enough.
Pitfall Harry. Doing a little bird watching? Certainly is an interesting bird.
Well, if it isn't Jonathan St. Scum. I mean, St. Clair.
I always loved your quick tongue. Remind me to cut it out sometime.
Tortured any natives lately? Isn't that how you found Inatuk's tomb in Egypt?
You may have won that round, Harry. But this time, I play for keeps. Give up now, and I'll make it quick.
Son of a... Oh, Zootalong.
Shoot the support beam!
Oh, hello. Why?
Look out! Look out!
Whoa! Ah!
Damsel in distress here. Ah! Oh!
I saw... Mr. Gunpowder, meet Mr. Torch. Time to get my game on.